Hey, I wanted to talk to you about a study. I might put the link up. Anyway, I'll give you the title of the study and where it's published, and you can go find it yourself if you want. It's called Molecular Pathway Reconstruction and Analysis of Disturbed Gene Expression in Depressed Individuals Who Died by Suicide. And it's by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 authors. So again, I'll read the title one more time. Molecular Pathway Reconstruction and Analysis of Disturbed Gene Expression in Depressed Individuals Who Died by Suicide. The first question I'd like you to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of this study? I didn't read the whole study, and quite frankly, it's about 3 to 5 pages of stuff. I don't care exactly what it says. But let's just ask ourselves, what's the purpose of that study? Molecular pathway. Why study suicide? Why study humans who kill themselves, who stop their own bodies from working? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think it is. I'll tell you why I think they made and published this study. They're looking at suicide prevention, as in potentially being able to cure suicide. So if we're, I'll read the title one more time. Molecular Pathway Reconstruction and Analysis of Disturbed Gene Expression. So disturbed gene expression. So implicitly, I wonder if they wonder if somehow, if we got the gene expression correct, maybe individuals would not commit suicide. They would not engage in suicide. Now ask yourself, why would someone engage in suicide? Does someone who engages in suicide have a reason? And, well, I'll give you a couple things to think about. First, look at any of the stories in the news about someone who engages in suicide. And often there's a reason. It's not necessarily a good reason. I've worked with quite a few individuals who are contemplating, I'll at least say they were at least contemplating engaging in suicide. And they generally have reasons why they think about engaging in suicide. So, reasons related to problems in living, related to psychosocial, economic, financial, legal issues, so on and so forth. So again, I'll read the title one more time. Molecular Pathway Reconstruction and Analysis of Disturbed Gene Expression in Depressed Individuals Who Died by Suicide. And also, the next part of that, disturbed gene expression in depressed individuals. So what is depression? Depression is a list of, according to the Diagnostical and Statistical Manual, it is a big book that costs about $50 to $100, somewhere in there, I think. Not totally sure. That, I don't think it's cheap anyway. It's not like a $3 ebook or a $5 book. But so in depressed individuals, depression, as it's referred to in the study, I can almost guarantee you, is referring to people who were depressed, diagnosed with major depression, depression not otherwise specified, or so on and so forth. And again, it's a list of criteria, some related to feeling hopeless, some related to bodily sorts of symptoms, low energy, or psychomotor, whatever. Anyway, so in depressed individuals, so people who are sad. And anyway, my whole point with this is I think they're really just barking up the wrong tree. And I'm all for preventing and stopping suicides as long as it's done in a peaceful, non-coercive way. I think suicide should be a civil right for adults. So it would be nice if there were no suicides. However, ultimately, I think if we're going to achieve that, persuasion, peaceful, non-coercive persuasion, persuading people to keep living is the only way to sustainably reduce the amount of suicides that happen. It's the only sustainable way. Using force and coercion to stop people from engaging in suicide is not going to work. It might work for one person for a little while, or 1,000 people for a while. But again, I think it ultimately makes the problem worse. And if we want to have a society where people don't die from suicide, we need to use peaceful, non-coercive persuasion. And even then, there are probably going to be people who just want to die for curiosity's sake. They're curious what's going to happen after they die, so they decide to engage in suicide. I still foresee, let's say in 500 years, as a society, there are practically no suicides because we're able to persuade people so skillfully, so tactfully, so peacefully to keep living, that they can create a life worth living, that nobody wants to engage in suicide. Nobody has the reasons to engage in suicide. We live in such a peaceful society that where things are so wonderful that nobody wants to leave, where there is no major depression or depression because everyone who wants to be happy can be happy with, relatively easily, so it seems they can see it as attainable, and they can see how they can create a life worth living. Even then, I think there's going to be people that said, yeah, let's say the SENS Foundation is successful. You can SENS, SENS.org. Let's say they're successful. So somebody who's living for 500 years in this society 500 years from now says, hey, this has been fun, but I'm really curious what happens when I die. And they want to stop their own body from working. One, they should be allowed to, if they're an adult, they should be allowed to. Two, again, that's a personal choice. So anyway, if there's still 7 billion people 500 years from now, and there's practically no suicides because people are sad, or depressed, I still see people, some are likely just going to want to see what happens. Anyway, that aside, this study, I'll read the title again, Molecular Pathway Reconstruction and Analysis of Disturbed Gene Expression in Depressed Individuals Who Died by Suicide. This study was funded, I presume. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just some guys in their basement who did all this gene analysis, but I sort of doubt it. And actually, let's look. Yeah, it says funding. It was funded by, there's a bunch of acronyms. NARSAD. Yeah, and it was edited by, it doesn't give great, I'm sure it's there somewhere, but I can't find it right now, of, where these people are from. I'm presuming from a university, maybe not, who this was funded by. But, I think they're barking up the wrong tree. If they want to actually make any progress, so yeah, this is the point. This is the important part. If these 8 individuals who wrote the study actually want to help prevent suicides, they're barking up. They're not. I don't think this study is going to make the littlest bit of difference in stopping suicides and in decreasing the rate of suicides. If they want to make some difference in actually decreasing the amount of suicides that happen, they should investigate how to peacefully persuade and show people that they can create a life worth living, and that suicide, is not very appealing, because living here on Earth is so appealing. So maybe they need to go into positive psychology. But yeah, my whole point is, so just to reiterate, I think this study is a waste of funding and whatever, if their goal is to decrease the amount of suicides that happen. And what they should be doing is some sort of research on how we can help people enjoy living so they don't want to engage in suicide. That's my whole point. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and have a great morning, evening, or afternoon, whenever, or night, whenever, wherever you may be.